It's Monday night. We're barking. It's after dark. Maybe not quite yet. We have to push this thing back a little bit. It's a little bit of light outside. I'm Jake Rowe, DawgsHQ. He's Jake Roos, DawgsHQ. Disclaimer before we get started. If you are looking for a lot of Georgia scoop and talk and discussion, this ain't it. We got our man Phillip Dukes coming on tonight. That's not the reason we're not going to be talking Georgia, but we goof off on this show. We talk about life. We talk about other things. And Phillip just joined us over at On3. We're going to have him on in just a little bit. But before we do that, Jake Roos, what you been up to since we dazzled the folks, the listeners here about a week ago and came back from our 1 month hiatus?
Not much, man. Pretty quiet week overall, which is fine with me. Glad the time change is here finally, man. It really, even 1 day in has really improved my mood going into day 2 here. So, I got the seasonal affective probably. I haven't been officially diagnosed, but sure feels like it. But great to be back, and looking forward to having Phillip on, man. I got to say, cool name. I mean, a great football name. Phillip Dukes. That's a great football name to me.
It is, man. It was made for it. Over the past week, I have done something that I've done basically every week since I became an adult. I thought about trying heroin, and I didn't. So,
another week, another tally mark in the
win for me, brother. Another win for me. I didn't. I'm still off the smack. So
I saw Dukes' reaction to that backstage, and I think he just understood what we were doing on the show now. So
yeah. Hey, and I swear I wish I could lie. I really do. There was a couple of times last week things got so wild. My wife got a little bit sick. I had to take kids here. I had to be 2 places at one time. And I was just like, man, I see it. I see it. You feel. I see how people get hooked on this stuff. But no, I mean, listen, I know people out there battle addiction, and we joke about it from time to time here, but obviously, really appreciate those folks. I mean, you're better than I would be. I'd find me face down in a ditch somewhere dead in about a month if I got on anything like that. But, man, we're really excited to have him on, so let's go ahead and bring him on. Phillip Dukes. Phillip, you've been backstage with us here. You might be a little bit alarmed at the kind of the way we go about things here.
Man, very entertaining. I'm glad, man. They talk about being a fly on the wall. Good God.
Yeah, this is a deeply, deeply unserious show, Phil. And we bring people on, man, just to kind of get some background, talk a little bit of life, talk a little bit of ball, and really just kind of get the story behind the story, man. Guys in this industry, I feel like so often do a lot of question asking and don't ever get questions asked to them. So, that's what the point of this is, and that's why we wanted to have you on today. You've come out of the gate at On3, man, with some heavy hitting interviews. You're doing the 5-star flex for us, and one of the most connected guys, it seems like, with these young guys in 2025, 2026 class. But before we get into all of that, I want to know, where does the Phillip Dukes story start, man? Take us back to the beginning, and how do you get to where you are now, man?
Man, so born and raised in College Park, Georgia. Started football maybe 5-6 years old. Funny story. My head was too big for a regular helmet to play quarterback, so I had a bird cage, and Jonas Jennings, who's my god brother, he was working at the rec, and he was like, hey, man, we got to give him like a 12-year-old helmet. And they were like, no, you can't wear that. And Jonas went and got it. He was like, boy, if you ever grow into your head, you'll do really well in football. So now that we always talk about that. But just got my roots. Born and raised in College Park. Graduated from Banneker High School. Went to Auburn. Just kind of I was always into kind of party promoting. So a lot of these relationships that I've built, like a lot of these guys, I know their parents because we used to, kind of get drunk together. So
blackmail. You got blackmail on a lot of folks. That's what.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But no, so my mom was a real popular school teacher. She passed away a couple of years ago, but she was really heavily involved in the community. So I just been able to parlay those relationships just from being around in the Atlanta area. I really wasn't planning on being like a writer. I was working as an ops manager at a warehouse. It just kind of fell into place. started covering Auburn for 247. Had a really good run there. And On3, Shannon saw some of the interviews that I was doing. And these were interviews that I was just doing on my own. I had my own podcast. And he was like, I think we could find a way to package you in a way that we haven't done yet. And I was like, as long as I was like, can I be me? Like, do I have to wear a shirt? Do I have to wear a tie? He was like, nah, bro, just do what you want. Like, as long as you don't piss anybody out too bad, like you'll be fine. And that's so me and Shannon got a great relationship as far as me being me and him just saying, you know what's funny at On3, they say like you're doing good if he don't call you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's always been my take on it. Everybody I've ever talked to has definitely said that. But a lot of crossover here.
The less you're hearing, the better it's going. That's just
right.
It's interesting though. We've got three guys with no. What was your major in college? I'm curious.
Man, my major was political science. I wanted to be a sports agent. So I interned at a couple agencies fresh out of college, and I was just like, I ain't really want to do that. So, man, I ain't really never told nobody this, but man, bro, I was a pretty good rapper. So, I spent like probably like majority of my 20s just like riding around, doing shows, just stuff like that. So, and then I just was like, when I got like 28, I was like, bro, I don't even want to do this. I just woke up one morning, like, so where I'm from, they call me Barry Sanders because they was like, bro, you just woke up and just stopped. And I did. I was like, I don't want to do this shit no more. And oh my God, bro.
No, you can do it.
Cool. This is good.
Allowable on here. We do that here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I was like, man, I don't want to do this shit no more. So
you got a long way to go to be the most vulgar person to ever come on this.
Man, so yeah, man. I mean, it's just fun, like, and I think, but it's really important. I think, me and Jake were at the combine in Indy, and we were just talking about how much overlap our stories had when it just came to just doing what you're passionate about and doing what you love and finding a way to make that work for you and your family. And I think as long as you consider your family when you're chasing your dreams, I think the three of us have pretty inspirational stories when it comes to just like, kind of going after what you're best at and what you enjoy doing.
We're proof positive. Three guys here that you don't got to go to journalism school to end up.
Absolutely,
this, right? Yeah.
Right.
And you can get by with a huge head as well.
Yeah, I got one as well. The funny thing when you were telling me that, I was thinking about it's Jonas Jennings and head stories. I'll never forget, man. We were at Camp Sunshine. Georgia goes down to Camp Sunshine and does that whole outreach deal. The kids down there have either recovered from cancer, or they're currently dealing with cancer. Georgia takes the football team down there, spends some time with those kids. It's a lot of fun. And Jonas was down there one year, and he kind of came up behind my hat, and he was kind of like, man, he got with a couple notches holding on to that thing. And I said, dude, let me tell you, I got like Tim Watt says, I got the head of a Rottweiler. And he said, man, you ain't got nothing on Jim Donnan, dude. He said, we used to just walk up behind Jim Donnan and just hold up the number one, because last clip, dude, like the last button on there, it was that one. They just hold it up, just one. So I'm glad they're making them different these days. Now I can walk around. I've got like 4 on this one. So, but yeah, me and Jake Roos and apparently Phillip Dukes, we all carry big heads.
Yeah.
And
got to get on 3 big head committee meeting today. That's
that LXL Flex Fit hat works pretty good.
Man, absolutely.
Needs something that fits deep. But so first of all, you haven't been at On3 a whole heap of time here. What's it been like? What do you like? What are you trying to figure out thus far?
Man, it's been good. There's a lot of flexibility for what I like to do. Similar to this show, a lot of times like my whole angle for the 5-Star Flex was to allow athletes and the recruits to kind of talk more about themselves, and like they could clip up their interviews, post them on their pages, and get more into them, because in the NIL era, the more you know about a guy, the more you're able to leverage when it comes to trying to look for some of those deals when it comes to name, image, and likeness. So it's been really cool. Recently I just did like my first solo show last week. It was kind of funny too. Like, so I didn't tell nobody I was doing it. So I started out, they said, Dukes, we want 2 shows a week. And then I just started stacking interviews. Just like, what, do 3. I was like, all right. And so then they were like, all right, we'll do 4. And I was like, Well, 4 is gonna be tough because I'm chasing around 17-year-olds and saying, "Hey, can you do me a favor? I need you to sit still for 15 to 20 minutes and tell me about your life." Like, so I told my engineer, Jackson, I was like, "Hey, Jackson, let's just do a solo show and don't tell nobody." And he was like, "Bro, you trying to get me killed?" And I was like, "Man, I think it'll be good. We're not gonna mess with nobody. Like, let's just do one and see what happens." And we did it, and I did it on Alabama, which, so a lot of my followers are from Auburn, so they were like throwing up in their mouths, and then the Alabama guys were like, "Hey, this Auburn guy's talking about Alabama," but when they actually got into the content, I got a lot of positive feedback. So I just think the flexibility and the ability to be yourself has been really cool at On3. It's not so buttoned up where it's like, "Hey, we want to get in here and talk ball." You don't talk college football all the time with a suit on. You talk it like we talk it at a bar, like at a barbershop, at a cookout. And I think that's one of the things that makes On3 so attractive as one of in my opinion, the leading media outlet when it comes to college football, but also as a place of employment. Like, it's cool when you wake up and your boss is not saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. Now, we do have rules, but it's just really cool just being able to be authentically yourself and do something like talk college football is really a dream.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess, Phillip, you've had a chance now to interview several guys and several Georgia targets at that. Lagonza Hayward, I know, was on with you a couple week ago or so, roughly. I'm curious, man, in the conversations that you're having with these guys, and like you said, it's a personal conversation, but you guys venture into the world of recruiting as well. What are the kind of consistent threads you're hearing from guys when it comes to Georgia? Because you got a pulse with these young guys. We hear what we hear, and obviously we're focused on it and kind of in that world with Georgia. But I'm curious, as somebody who does the broader scope stuff, what is the kind of consistent thing you're hearing from kids about Georgia?
Development. They know if you go to Georgia, you're going to be developed, and it's that logo. There's the standard that's been set with that G now in the past few years is reminiscent of what Bama built when they were just on an incredible tear. So I think that the consistency with the winning and development are probably the two biggest things that I hear when it comes to Georgia. Like, you say Georgia, like when I ask about Georgia, a lot of times they say it's Georgia. Like, there's just something that goes along with it being Georgia. And a funny story, a couple years ago, and this before I got into it, there was a guy who was considering Georgia and maybe Ohio State or Georgia and Florida. And a guy at Georgia was like, all I got to do is say, I'm going to go ask this guy, what can he get at Georgia that he can't get anywhere else? And that's my recruiting pitch. What can you get at that school that you can't get at Georgia? And just the respect level that goes along with that G, it's been huge for Georgia, and I think they're going to dominate again.
Yeah, Papaw's got the mic muted again here. He doesn't. Jake doesn't know how to use the internet, so we have to figure that out once a show.
I just need to leave it off. I just need to leave it. I need to quit trying to do other stuff while I got stuff going on. Like I got an email that I had to return real quick, or I was going to forget, and I muted. I got to quit doing that. All right. Sorry to the live stream gods. All right. So I wanted to ask you about your time at Auburn, kind of as a student. Did you go there with any aspirations of playing any ball or anything like that? And what was it like? Just kind of, what was college like for you? What was the experience like?
So I went down and I said I would walk on, and I was like, I saw Ronnie Brown, and I was like, I saw him. It's funny too, because so I actually Ben Thomas, who used to be the director of player development, we had a relationship. So he was like, all right, you gonna walk on? Okay, well, I think I got a spot for you in the athletic dorm. So we go down there. I'm saying the athletic dorm, and so my roommate walked on. He was a preferred walked on, a guy named Chris. He was, so we're walking to the cafeteria, and I'm like, man, that's a well-built defensive end. He was like, bro, that's a tailback. And it was Ronnie Brown. And I was like, bro, I'm finna go to the library. It's over with. Like, man, I'm going to man, what are my books?
That's so, back in the day when you had to go to the library to surf the internet too.
Man, yeah, right around that time. Yep. Yeah. Like, because I came out of high school in 2000, but I was always a guy that like had clothes, shoes, and I used to always hustle. So I kind of just built the reputation that if you need something or if you like where can you go get this designer clothes, or where can you go get this pair of tennis shoes? Well, ask Dukes. Or so Jamison Brewer, who played for the Pacers, he went to Tri-Cities as well. We were friends growing up. He used to stay with us sometimes, and he always called me College Park. He'd be like, "Hey, College Park," because he was from East Point. And so I got the nickname CP. So if you ask anybody in Auburn, they want Phillip Dukes is like, "Who is that?" They're going to say, "Oh, you mean CP?" Or like, even when I interview Auburn guys, they'll come on and say, "All right, can I, do I have to call you your real name?" Like stuff like that. So my freshman year, I ended up linking in with one of the local clubs. So a lot of the times all the parties would be at frat houses. So that I didn't really have any relationships at the frats. So what I did was I linked in with let me plug my computer in. I linked up with the local club, and I just started promoting for free. And I would just go down to Tuskegee and pass out a bunch of flyers. We even used to ride down to Montgomery and pass out flyers. And I turned it out like no BS, man. We used to just have Wednesday nights every week, get it ladies in free, and I threw parties for the first 3 years of college. And really, that's really what I did. I partied. I barely went to school. Flunked out 1 year and came back my last year and graduated. So that's pretty much my college: hustling, partying, and a little bit of school.
When Jake Roos finally decides to let a woman make an honest man out of him, we're gonna get you to plan his bachelor party for him.
Yeah.
Gosh. Please let me do it. Absolutely.
He's got the itch. He hadn't planned a party in a while, so he's ready to do it.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. It'll be fun.
Now, Dukes, I'm curious, man. Growing up in that area, a lot of good football, man. So who were some of the guys that you kind of came up with? You mentioned Jonas, and but I'm interested. Who else you kind of crossed over with in your time down in College Park?
Man, my guy was Greg Blue. I just talked to Blue last week. Man, Blue was such a good athlete and really just heads and shoulders above like everybody else when it came to just the physicality. And then too, just his attitude. Well, a lot of people don't realize Blue was such a hard worker. Like he was one of the guys that we might be playing pickup basketball and nobody has any intentions on going to lift weights. And he'll take a pickup basketball game and turn it into a weight room session. Like, hey, bro, we're going to lift weights. And Blue was really good. Sean Jones went to Westlake. We played Little League together. Sean, we call him 2G. 2G was a really good player. Like my senior year, we played Westlake. They had Sean Jones at quarterback. Pac-Man was a freshman. They had Kieran Fox at tight end and linebacker from Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
They had a 6'6" wide receiver named Nick Hunter who ended up playing at UT Chattanooga. That was his first year playing football, and he got a D1 scholarship. Then Banneker had Levon Thomas at wide receiver who played at Georgia Tech. They also had Darius Watts who played with the Broncos for a while at wide receiver, and Blue, who was basically just a madman out there. But the South Side that year, it was incredible for football. There was a guy. Do you guys remember Charles Roberson from Creekside? He was a 6'4", 250-pound DN. I think he signed with Tennessee, but he never made it. But I'm forgetting David Jacobs was at Westlake.
Oh yeah.
You got Lou Thomas. Who went to Vanderbilt. It was so much good football, and we look back at it now because times have changed so much, and we just go now. So now it's Langston Hughes and Westlake, but we always used to say, what if they would pool the South Fulton schools together like a Valdosta or like a Lowndes County? Like what type of talent would be when you take a Westlake and a Banneker and combine them? So it was really fun and really competitive, and something I wish I can get back, but that's how life goes. You just try to hold on to the memories and be happy that you had them.
Yeah. If you played high school ball, you remember a lot of guys. You remember a lot of guys that nobody will ever know.
Oh man.
When I talk with my high school buddies about high school football, like we talk about guys that never played a down of college ball that hit us so hard or gave us so much trouble. And I'm like, I wonder what he's doing now, Yeah.
And, man, the best player. Hold on. Do you guys remember Johannes Buchanan?
I do not. No.
Man, please look him up. He was a parade All-American. He went to Douglas High, class of 2000. I'd never been hit harder in my life. He was Bobby. He had a article in a AJC because he tried to graduate early, and he has this statement where he says, "I've accomplished everything I can accomplish at the high school level." He was like that type of guy, a parade All-American, and if anybody remembers Johannes Buchanan in the Atlanta area, he's probably one of the best football players I've ever seen at that level.
As somebody who has taught high school, I felt like there were about, let's see, when I was teaching at Cedar Shoals, I don't know how many students, let's say there were 2,000. I felt like about 1,700 of the kids felt that they had accomplished everything that they could accomplish. and the funny thing is like 95% of that 1,700 hadn't accomplished shit.
Right.
Most of them didn't have a credit.
Right.
But and I love them. I love dealing with them. That was great. That was fine. They cracked me up. They were good folks. It was just, man, we couldn't figure out whether we were coming or going at that school. It was so wild. But man, these kids these days are a little different. They are a little different, but they're fun and they know how to do stuff and they know how to be things that we didn't know how to be at that age. And I kind of enjoy that part of it in talking to them because they understand the world in some ways that we didn't understand it.
Yeah, I really leaned into the uncle role. Like a lot of they'll say unc, and I'm very free calling kids nephew because it's a lot of times like I'm at that age, so I'm 41, and even when if you just look at the hip hop culture, it's like you got guys 44 years old winning Grammys. So and a lot of guys, they strive to be young, and they, but me, I'm so happy that I'm 41. I've learned what I'm able to learn. I've done the things that I've done, and I can learn from somebody else from a 10,000 foot level where these recruits and these kids are at the 5,000 or the 1,000 foot level, and things that they see it differently. And just being able to trade perspective from those two different viewpoints, I think is just something that you can't replace.
Yeah, you mentioned talking to these guys about NIL and kind of being able to expand their brand by being on the show. Do you think the kids really have a sense of how this stuff works yet? Are they getting good advice? Have they figured out this world yet? Or is it still so new that you find that a lot of kids are just kind of feeling their way through this thing kind of still blindly?
There is a lot of bad information out there, and there are a lot of bad people out there. So when kids go in and are these recruits and they're hearing stuff that funny story. It's a guy who I'm not gonna say what school, but he went into his head coach office and asked like, hey, so he gets there. Now, he's already talked to the collective and he's getting his money. He just walks in. He was like, hey, I think I need 500,000, coach. Like, and the coach is like, what? But that's the type of information that he's getting. Like, who told you to go ask your head coach for $500,000? Like, yeah. and the coach is the type of guy that you like, that's the last thing you want to do. So I think the rumors about what people are getting, and then one thing I hate about this generation, not just the way the world is currently constructed, you can see a social media post that says quarterback says he's worth $12 million, and it's not breaking down. It was the deal was $3 million per year, or it's not saying or it's not saying how it's really constructed. So you look at the meme or you look at the post and you take that at face value. And you think, well, hey, I'm not getting paid enough. And I think that those are the type of that is the type of information that people are gleaning, and they're not getting the real deal where they're realizing that, hey, I need to save some money so I can pay my taxes, or they're not saying, okay, maybe if I created a business that I could actually help, or I could help my family out in a way where they can help me as well. Like there's so much information that's being missed, and then the NIL agents, like some of them are good. Jake, we were at Indy. We actually were sitting right with a guy who had over 100 NIL clients, college football, some gymnastics people. But this guy was just like, he takes a smaller percentage, but you could take 20%. Now imagine a guy, he gets a $500,000 deal, and he's giving up $100,000 for a guy who has to just go talk to a collector for 5 minutes. So it's a really tricky business. And I think that one thing I do try to do is I answer all questions. Like in a lot of these interviews that I'm doing, maybe if I got a 15-minute interview, it was probably 45 minutes and we just posted what we could. But there was a lot of information going out. Hey, do you understand this? And I think that and I really strive to understand it so I can pass that information on, wherever you're from. I just want the information to be better and for kids to understand what their true market value is, not just based off Instagram, but based off of what the real deal is.
That's understandable too. And something that was hitting me while you were talking about kind of that meme or that tweet or whatever is the fact that that person who sees that, they're going to grab it without ever looking into it. They're going to go tell 10 more people about it. 8 of those people aren't even going to see it themselves. They're going to tell more people about it. And that information just gets out like it's the absolute truth because nobody took the time to kind of look into it, or somebody decided to write a headline that was just going to grab as many eyeballs as it could. And that's the world we live in. And that's one of the reasons why I respect kids the way I do these days is, listen, you got boomers and Gen Xers and everybody else out there who wants to talk about how the guys that we deal with these days are this and that. But at the end of the day, man, they got problems that we didn't have. They got issues that we didn't have. And that's something I think we got to respect and kind of keep our thumb on. Hey, man, we're going to get ready to let you go here in just a little bit. But we ask everybody, all of our guests, the same 2 questions. I got one. Roos has got one. Mine is simple. Man, you get a chance to you pass away, but you get a chance to organize your own homecoming. You get a chance to organize your own funeral, and somebody gets to send you off. Past, present, singer, comedian, doesn't matter who is eulogizing Phillip Dukes.
Andre 3000.
Okay.
Andre, my favorite. I met him once. I met Andre once, and it was really, he is an alien. He really is an AT alien. Like, never met anybody like him before in my life. He really has that aura about himself. And if I had to pick, it'd be Andre 3000.
I like it.
Have you checked out the new album? I haven't listened to it yet. The instrumental. I'm just curious. Is it worth checking out?
Think about it like elevator music at a soul food restaurant.
Hey, I'm with that, man. I like
That's how it sounds. Yeah, exactly.
All right. All right. Well, Dukes, my question is the same for everybody as well, and that is, what is the worst hotel room that Phillip Dukes has ever stayed in?
Man, all right. I was in Miami flying Spirit in COVID, and they said they canceled the flight, and they said, and it was a Monday, and they were like, all right, well, we can get you on another flight Friday. I'm like, and I'm tapped. So I got my girl and my son, and I don't even remember the name, but we found a place that had 3 stars on Priceline. But we did it was a Priceline 3 stars. It's kind of where you go to a place blindly. You say, hey,
hidden deal.
The hidden deal, right?
Roos and I have actually done that together before. We did that in Charleston one time to get a hotel in Charleston.
Yeah. That can be hit or miss for sure.
I missed. Like, I missed. Man, I'm talking about, like, man, we literally walk in the room, man. The bed hadn't been done. We called somebody to come make the bed up. They had an attitude. Shower wasn't working. The bathroom looked like somebody used it before we got there. Like, so we basically just went back to the airport and just thugged it out for a day or two. Found a flight. We took that money and just found a flight. But yeah, that was the worst hotel stay. My son he was 7 at the time. He still talks about it to this day.
He got initiated pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Life gets to you. Hey, he'll have a worse hotel stories to tell one day. Maybe that'll be it. Hopefully that'll be it.
Hopefully
it don't get any worse than that. Hey, we appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much for coming on, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime in the future.
Bro, hey man, let me come back soon.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Maybe we'll end up on the 5-star flex too.
I can't wait. Look, I gotta fight Newberg for y'all. But if Newberg lets you pass, you definitely got to come on. Newberg, hey, what's up, Josh? Josh, my boy too.
Yeah,
we're down, man.
Yeah, we're down for sure.
All right.
Thanks so much, Phillip.
All right, bro.
Listen, it could be post-interview high. I'm on here. That was one of the funner ones we've done, man. I had a good time with that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's no wonder that he gets such great interviews with the kids, man. Like, I mean, just so lively, so vibrant, and I think that rings true on this show where a couple of knuckleheads he's having to drag up the collective IQ. So appreciate Phillip coming on with us, man, for sure.
No doubt.
All right, what do you think, man? Is it that time?
It's that time. It's
well,
listen, find somewhere, get nice and quiet, turn the ceiling fan on. Like I see in the background there. Maybe turn on a little music, maybe a little elevator music at a soul food restaurant if that's what you so desire.
Enjoy it while it lasts, because the shame will set in soon thereafter.
And Jake off, absolutely.
All right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
No, I'll go first. So we were talking about the whole. We were talking about the other day. You had asked me kind of about the weight loss thing and the fitness journey and all that stuff. And I gotta say, man, as long as I've known you, I've never, other than you walking from downtown to your place, I don't know that I've ever really seen you break a sweat.
Yeah.
What is Jake Roos's preferred way to exercise to get his heart rate up, to maybe better himself in a physical way?
I don't really have one is the true answer. I mean, I don't like to work out. I don't enjoy it. I'm not one of those people. I'm trying to kind of get into it. I've been looking at getting some of those adjustable dumbbells, maybe to do a little bit of lifting. I've lost some weight, and so I'm feeling a little bit better about how I'm looking. I'm trying to, maybe take the next step on it.
You've lost weight over the years, up and down. I mean, you've never been a big guy, but I've seen you gain some weight, seen you lose some weight. And it's just the reason I asked that is you're kind of a freak a little bit, because I wouldn't look at you and think, oh, look at that puny man right there. Yeah. But man, I swear to God, if I saw you lifting dumb, and I love you more than anything in the world, man, you're one of my best friends. But if I saw you lifting weights, it's the expression, a monkey humping a doorknob. It's just kind of not because I think it would be wrong. I just don't know what I would be. It would look wrong. It'd be like,
I agree.
Yeah.
But my thing is, the only reason I've even been looking into that is because I've been trying to research all this stuff. And, a lot of people, I keep reading, people are like, look, you lift weights for 15, 20 minutes. That could be a big deal, that could, that's better than nothing I'm currently doing. I don't like to go to the gym. I've joined the gym 4 or 5 times over the course of my life. I just don't. I got one 5 minute, or not even 5. I can walk there in 5 minutes from my house right now. I've had a membership for a year. I went, I don't know, maybe 8, 10 times. I just got to cancel the thing again. I don't know, man. I don't really have a thing. I do like to walk, but I like to walk with a purpose. I don't like to just walk around a track. I like to walk over to the bar, or walk to the restaurant, or walk to, if I'm in a big city, walk in between places and walk around and see stuff. I can't just walk with no intent. That drives me crazy too. So the real answer is I don't have one of those things, Jake. I wish I did. I wish there was a thing that I could find that I could really get into. But so far, I just haven't had any luck. I mean, I lifted weights when I was in middle school, and that was the last time I did anything like that. So,
yeah, the whole walking thing's tough, man. I have so much respect for these people who drop 40, 50, 60 pounds just by walking, because I'm just kind of I'll do it. I make myself do it. We've got a block in my neighborhood that is 0.7 miles. And if I don't go to the gym, and I'm down about 11 pounds now, and if I don't go to the gym, I try to walk. I try to do 3 laps. I think it ends up being, on my step counter, I feel like all of these are probably different. It ends up being about 5,000 steps in and of itself. You take the rest of my day in, you throw those 5,000 steps in, I can usually get to 10 to 12,000 steps, somewhere in there. And I try to, if I don't go to the gym, I'd like to try and get as close to 12,000 steps as I could possibly get. I actually went and hiked in the woods the other day near my house, and I won't be doing that again because I got back home a day later and looked on the back of my arm and there was a tick. So yeah, that was fun. So apparently it's not the kind that make you allergic to red meat. I was just told yesterday that's a thing.
That would have been a devastating thing for you to learn, I'm sure.
I mean, I might have went and played in 85 traffic if that would have happened.
You want to talk about a quick way to lose weight? Probably cut you off of red meat. That would have been helpful.
Make my morale lose a lot of weight.
I saw a guy though. I read a quote that was like, "You can't outwork the fork." So my thing is, I'd rather focus on my eating and cutting calories there, and then just try and walk more, stand more throughout the day, than really seek something out. I'll get out I guess if I were to pick something, if I could find somebody to consistently maybe like throw some baseball with or something like that, I like to do some stuff like that. I suck at like basketball. I don't want to do that, but like, a little light activity like that, I don't mind that.
The last time I threw a baseball was our good buddy Zach Thrower and I went out to Ben Burton Park. And my family went out there with me, and we threw the baseball and got my arm loosened up, and we threw. And then I started like, hey man, I wonder if I can still throw a changeup, or I wonder if I can still snap off a curveball. And when I tell you that I needed about 6 weeks for my arm to get back, I had a hard time sleeping that night. Like my arm was hamburger meat, dude. My arm is so shot from not throwing the right way growing up. And I played high school baseball and everything, and I was okay at it, but holy crap, man. But I'm also on the exercise thing, I'm also kind of a little bit of a weirdo. I lifted weights all through high school, and I had an aptitude for it. Like I was always the kind of guy that if I committed to it and lifted regularly, I got pretty strong. I know I squatted 500 pounds when I was in high school. I never became a 300-pound bencher. I got at 280. But I had 2 shoulder surgeries and I've had 2 knee surgeries. And to hell with lifting weights. I'm sure I'll try it again at some point. I enjoy cardio. I enjoy low impact cardio. I hop on that Cybex machine over at Athens Athens Health.
You do love a Cybex machine.
Love the Cybex, dude. I was on it for 45 minutes this morning before 8 a.m. Throw a little snowfall up on FX, a show that's on FX that I absolutely love. I think it's amazing. Throw it on there, grind out, 45 minutes, an hour, come home, get some steps in too. It's all working out for me right now. And you're right. You can't outrun the fork, and I just, like Andy Staples, whenever we had him on, just counting calories, dude, and honestly, a little bit probably for at least a couple of hours a day, probably for like an hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the afternoon, starving myself. Like, hey, let's wait. Let's just wait. Let's just wait for a little while. Yeah. Sure. So.
All right. So mine for you today is this is weird because we work for a sports website, for God's sakes. We don't talk about sports just a ton though on this show, but I'm curious, not what sport, but what position is your favorite to watch in all of sports? Like if a guy is doing it at a really high level, what do you enjoy seeing?
Catcher in baseball. Yeah.
Okay.
I love watching catchers. I caught my whole life, all the way up until my senior year of high school when I had shoulder surgery, like in January before my senior season of high school baseball. And I just didn't get the arm strength back to play any catcher that year. So I played first and DH'd all year. But man, I love watching like a really good catcher kind of get out, like, Pudge Rodriguez back in the day. Yadier Molina was a lot of fun. Grew up, me and my brother were big fans of Benito Santiago.
Of course.
Yeah, a little Benito Santiago action. Charlie O'Brien, who played for the Braves, was always fun with that curly, almost a Jerry Curl looking mullet.
No love for Javi?
He wasn't a very I love watching Javi hit.
Sure.
But Javi wasn't a very good defensive catcher. Maybe that's why I never really liked Brian McCann a whole lot. I always thought he was a little bit of an overrated player because I just felt like he was really lazy behind the plate. And the funny thing is, I say this as somebody that is under no delusion that I was a great defensive catcher. I don't know how good I was. I tried really hard back there. But I will say this. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there are these guys on TikTok. They have a TikTok channel, and you got to try and go find it. I'm sure somebody savvy at this can find it in no time. But they make fun of like modern baseball technicians and people who coach modern baseball position drills and everything. But they'll have catching drills in 2023 or 2024. And dude, they just abuse. They put equipment on a guy, and they're clearly not actual drills, but they're making fun of how ludicrous these drills are. And they're like taking a trash can over. It's like, if I can't fit this trash can over you completely, you're not in tight enough. And they're like jamming it down his head. And then they've got like a rubber strap held against the waist. He goes, all right, fight against it, catch the ball. And the guy's like falling back and the ball hits him in the chest. Dude, they are amazing. They do it with hitting drills too. Like they're over there like grabbing the guy like around the waist with that rubber band, and he's like, all right, swing it, and they're just dragging him across the floor.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. But catcher's the number one thing, and then another thing I would say is wide receivers.
Okay.
I do like watching great wideouts, but the problem with that is you almost never get to see it in real time. Like you have to wait and get a replay because most of those guys run out of the screen. And what you see is honestly one of my favorite things about covering a game at Georgia is and covering a game in person just in general is sometimes I just lock onto a wideout and kind of see what he does to the cornerback. And I do that a lot early in games to kind of see, hey, I wonder if so-and-so is cooking against so-and-so so that, you know, and sometimes you can see a guy may not catch a pass on an opening drive, but you're like, oh my God, he's going to end up lighting him up.
He's in it today.
This cornerback's in trouble today. So that's definitely one. What about you? What is your answer to your own question?
I mean, outside of team sports, I would say I love watching dominant golf. Just somebody really getting after it on the course is incredible to see because it's so hard, right? Like it's like and it's so difficult to be good at golf, but it's so difficult to be like, it's even more difficult to be incredible at golf. Like, you know, you consistently hear those guys that say that it's like the hardest thing to do, right? And so that's always super impressive to me when you can see that. I really love to watch a pitcher who's dealing, you know, a guy who's, when you can just find somebody kind of in that zone, that's what's so cool to me. And I guess I like those kind of more individualized things, you know, the pitcher by himself just up there.
It's so funny. You bring those two up, and those are the two I think they're not my picks because I hate being on the wrong end of those.
Oh, sure.
Like, it's a golfer I don't like. I loved young Tiger. Like I loved like young Tiger. I was big into Tiger when he was young. And he started winning everything. And just like it was with Michael Jordan, just like it was with Kobe Bryant, just like it was with so many other like great athletes. I'm trying to think, there are definitely more. But you know, I was like, man, oh God, I hate this. This sucks so bad.
Sure.
Like, I mean, they're dominating everything. Like nobody else can do anything. And it's all everybody talks about. But it's almost like trash talking. Like I don't trash talk because I don't want to be trash talked back to. Like I don't like it when a golfer does that because I don't like it to be a golfer I don't like just dominating somebody, you know. And you know, I kind of went through a phase where I didn't like Tiger a lot. You know, that Rocco Mediate U.S. Open. I was really rooting for Rocco because I just thought Rocco was a little. I mean, I don't want to say a little bit of a loser. He's definitely not a loser, but he's a normal guy. Like, I mean, Rocco, you know,
compared to Tiger Woods, yeah.
I could probably beat Rocco Media's ass. Like, I could probably
if someone out there can arrange this, we will figure out a budget for this. If you can get Rocco to play Jake, we'll just go 18 holes.
I'm screwed up. No. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about fighting.
Fighting. You're going to fight me up. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, if you can set Rocco and Jake up to fight, I would also pay.
I know I couldn't beat him on the golf course. He could play left-handed and beat me to death. Definitely not. And he's probably a damn master in jiu-jitsu or something too. I'm probably done for it. But it's just that whole feeling, you know, like, man, that's a normal guy right there. That guy right there might sell you some insurance.
Sure.
And you know, I would love to have seen him win that. And it wasn't a hate thing with Tiger. It's just like, man, I'd love to see somebody jump up and bite him. That's kind of unexpected. Because listen, I kind of went another way early on with Brooks Koepka. Like I was like, Jesus Christ, man, who is this douchebag? You know, like, but then after he won a few tournaments, I found out his wife's from Winder, Georgia, or his girlfriend at the time. She's his wife now. She's from Winder, Georgia. I talked to a couple people when I used to live in Winder that knew her really well whenever, you know, knew her and her family really well and spoke really highly of him. I was like, Brooks Koepka guy's not so bad. And I'm a pretty big Brooks Koepka fan, even though he plays on Live and watched him choke away the Masters last year. But, you know, it's just, and pitchers the same way. Like, you know, anybody who's pitched against the Braves for the Phillies in the past 2 years in the playoffs have just kind of, they've been dealing, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So it's just not fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, folks, we'll be back with you next Monday. And as of right now, we have a special guest lined up, and I'll go ahead and tell you who he is. It is a man by the name of Russ Tanner, former Georgia offensive lineman, barbecue connoisseur, and a man that can serve all your lending needs with the Bank of England. That's what he's doing these days. He has a live show that he does over on the UGA Sports Channel with our buddy Roddy DeBolsi and that crew over there. And we're going to have him on to talk about the start of the Mart Richt era, the start of pre-Kirby, and then the start of Kirby, and he's been around the area. He's given back to the community in a lot of ways, and we want to discuss that with him. And we've got some guests lined up here for the foreseeable future that we're excited about. So join us next Monday to talk to Russ and to cover a variety of topics. And maybe once again, we'll get to next Monday, and I will indeed have avoided heroin again.
the demon black tar.
The demon black tar. Everybody take care. We love you guys.